Even today we still talk about horsepower. This term has been around for centuries and is still widely used. This term appears when we discuss car engines, and it's a key factor in understanding vehicle performance. It tells us how powerful a car is. The higher the horsepower, the more powerful the engine, and the faster the car can go. But why do we use a word about horses to talk about engines? The connection between horses and engines isn't immediately obvious. It seems strange, doesn't it? The term can be quite confusing if you don't know its history. After all, cars don't run on hay and oats. They run on gasoline or electricity. The answer lies hundreds of years in the past. It dates back to the early days of the Industrial Revolution. It all began with a simple question: how do you measure the power of a machine? Engineers needed a way to quantify the power of steam engines. The term horsepower has transcended its original purpose and become a universal language for power. It's used across various industries. We even use it to describe the processing power of computers and smartphones. The concept of horsepower has evolved with technology. This enduring legacy of a simple unit of measurement speaks volumes about its impact on the world. From cars to phones, horsepower remains a key indicator of power and performance. To understand horsepower, we need to travel back to the 18th century. Back then, horses were the primary source of power. Horses pulled carriages, plowed fields, and even powered simple machines. In mines, horses were essential for hauling heavy loads of coal and ore. Miners needed a way to compare the strength of different horses. They needed to know how much weight a horse could pull and how fast it could do it. This information was crucial for selecting the right horses for the job and for calculating how much work they could accomplish. During this transformative period, inventors were tirelessly working on developing a revolutionary new kind of power: the steam engine. This innovation promised to change the way industries operated and how work was done. These early engines, however, were far from perfect. They were large, cumbersome, and highly inefficient. Frequent breakdowns plagued their operation, making them unreliable for consistent use. Additionally, they were incredibly expensive to run. The engines required vast amounts of coal to generate the necessary steam, which added to the operational costs and made them less appealing. Mine owners, who had long relied on the dependable strength of horses, were understandably hesitant to switch to these newfangled machines. The reliability and familiarity of horsepower were hard to compete with. They needed a practical way to compare the efficiency and cost-effectiveness of the steam engines against their trusted horses. This comparison was crucial for making informed decisions. The steam engine, despite its initial flaws, marked a significant turning point in history. It offered a potential alternative to animal labor, promising greater productivity and efficiency in the long run. However, the widespread adoption of steam engines was hindered by their limitations and the lack of a standardized method to measure and compare their power with existing sources. This created a barrier to their acceptance. This is where James Watt enters the scene. His innovations and improvements to the steam engine would eventually address many of these issues, paving the way for a new era of industrial power. Section 4. James Watt, improving the engine. Enter James Watt, a Scottish inventor who made significant improvements to the steam engine. Watt's engine was more efficient and reliable than its predecessors. He knew he had a revolutionary invention, but he needed a way to convince people to use it. He needed a way to explain just how powerful his engine was. Watt's genius lay not only in his engineering skills but also in his understanding of the market. He recognized the need for a relatable measure of power, something that potential customers could easily grasp. Section 5. Selling steam, the birth of horsepower. Watt came up with a clever solution. He decided to compare his engine to the power of a horse. This was a brilliant marketing move, as horses were the primary source of power for many industries at the time. People could easily understand and relate to the concept of horsepower. He conducted experiments to determine how much work a horse could do in a given amount of time. Watt meticulously measured the effort a horse exerted while pulling a weight over a specific distance. These experiments were crucial in establishing a standard unit of measurement. He found that a horse could lift 33,000 pounds of weight 1 foot high in 1 minute. This calculation was not arbitrary, it was based on careful observation and precise measurement. This became the definition of 1 horsepower. The term quickly gained acceptance and became a standard unit of power measurement in engineering and industry. By using the familiar concept of horsepower, Watt could effectively communicate the capabilities of his engine to potential buyers. This made it easier for people to grasp the engine's power and efficiency. A 10-horsepower engine, for instance, could do the work of 10 horses, making it a compelling investment for mine owners and industrialists. This comparison helped to revolutionize the way people thought about mechanical power and its potential to transform industries. Section 6. Why horses? A familiar comparison. Watt could have chosen any animal to compare his engine to, but he chose horses because they were a familiar sight. Everyone understood the strength and power of a horse. By using horsepower as a unit of measurement, Watt made it easier for people to understand the capabilities of his engine. The use of horsepower as a unit of measurement was instrumental in the widespread adoption of the steam engine. It provided a simple and intuitive way to compare the power of this new technology with the familiar workhorse of the time.